Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of NAWG, a history podcast. Not Another White Guy is an episodic production focusing on women and people of color in history whose contributions to life as we know it have been overlooked or claimed by someone else. I dive into new topics and showcase a new historical figure bi-weekly. I invite you to like this video and subscribe to this channel to join me on this journey of discovery and learning. Welcome to the life and breakthrough inventions of Hedy Lamarr. Episode 1, Part 3. With Hedy being the female movie star, they decided to let George Antile handle the bureaucracy and meetings for processing the patent and hopefully finding military application. Sadly, they were laughed out of the Navy over this invention. The most infuriating part is that immediately after laughing her off for her invention, they told her to leave the inventing and military strategy to the professionals. If you really want to help with the war effort, then get out there and sell war bonds, she was told. Devastated, but determined to help her new home with the war, Hedy went out and sold $25 million in war bonds. For perspective, that's $343 million today. Wow. And how does the United States repay her for her lucrative campaign selling war bonds? Well, by seizing her patent, of course, calling it property of an enemy alien. Later in life, she does obtain her U.S. citizenship, but at the time, this served a particularly terrible blow. She's expressed in interviews, devastated and furious. So, I was American enough for them to use me to sell war bonds? But suddenly as an inventor and an enemy alien? The tragedy is that she wasn't allowed to be both beautiful and smart. She wasn't allowed to serve her country with her mind because they wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't take her seriously. Can you just imagine how many lives could have potentially been saved if they had used her patent instead of laughing in their faces? Well, here's where the injustice truly kicks in. After demeaning her and cheapening her worth to only being a beautiful face for selling war bonds, the U.S. government does end up using her patent, but she is never told about it, and she doesn't find out until well into the 60s. Someone handed the patent off to a contractor to develop new military technology with it. He went on to create a type of torpedo sweeper, and even later on a drone used in the Vietnam War. By the time the Cuban Missile Crisis arrives, every single ship involved is armed with Hedy's technology. It's clear that she should have been paid. Devastatingly, she acquired her patent in 1942. By the time she finds out, it is well beyond the statute of patent law for her to be able to sue for payment. To put salt in an already very deep wound. As Hedy approaches her later years, she is mocked in the media and brutalized by the press. How dare she not look young and 20 years old forever? In an attempt to hold on to this beauty, which is the only way that the world has loved her, Hedy starts undergoing plastic surgery in her 40s. And for the next decade or so, she makes waves in the plastic surgery community, suggesting new cuts and procedures that no one had attempted before. She was still asking innovative questions well into her later years. Why couldn't we put the scar placement behind the ear? Or how about just behind the knee? And even here, she was a trendsetter. Common surgeons at the time recall patients coming in and asking for the same kind of work that Hedy just had done. Still, she is vindicated for horrendous things such as being ugly and being unrecognizable from her youth. Near the end, she experienced a handful of unfortunate plastic surgeries that some argue turned her to reclusivity. But who could blame her after how the world had begun to turn on her, after falling for the most beautiful woman in the world? Finally, in the sunset years of her life, she receives mainstream recognition for her revolutionary breakthrough. But when invited to an awards ceremony acknowledging the importance of her invention, she declines to make a public appearance. Probably out of fear of the decades of cruelty she's received for the simple sin of aging. The iconic woman that was Hedy Lamarr passed away in 2000, shortly after the new year. This creative, fun-loving, and ingenious woman passing during a new age. And in this new age is a wealth of technology. Cell phones, GPS, Bluetooth, military equipment, surveillance tech, and wireless devices all over the world. And the foundations to these modern marvels? Well, Hedy's frequency hopping secret communication system, of course. Her invention is so fundamentally crucial to how we communicate with each other today that experts believe, if current trends continue, her science will connect every single person in the world. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to better understand the beautiful inventor that was Hedy Lamarr. She was a brilliant woman, and I can't help but ask myself, if she was able to invent this secret communication system under the pressures of Mayer with MGM and the constant suffocating scrutiny of being too beautiful to possibly be a person of any caliber of intellect, what in the world could she have accomplished if the world had simply let her? Thank you for listening to this episode of NAWG, a history podcast. And if you like what you heard, don't forget to like and subscribe. All of our social media links are in the video description below. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'll be posting clues about who our next episodes will be on, and I'd love to hear about who you guys would like to learn about next in future episodes of NAWG. All of my episodes are fan-picked as far as subject matter goes, so send your thoughts my way. If you're still with us and are an animal lover, I highly recommend checking out the work that the phenomenal Jackie Rairden is doing at the Water Bowl. She's a good friend of mine, and her YouTube channel is dedicated to encouraging empathetic and compassionate pet care. So if you'd love to learn new ways to respect and love your pets, or just want to see some cute dogs, go check her out. Her link is in the description below. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for learning with me today, and I'll catch you next time on NAWG, a history podcast.